I never believed in hidden rooms. I thought old houses creaked, settled, had drafts. I thought shadows in corners were just shadows. I never believed a house could hide something that wasn't meant to be seen, until I moved into my aunt's old Victorian house on the outskirts of town. I inherited it after her passing. She had no other family and the will was clear. The house was mine. The first time I saw it in person, I was awestruck. Towering windows, elaborate trim, wooden floors polished to a shine despite the dust. But there was a feeling in the house that made the hairs on the back of my neck rise. It was quiet, too quiet. No settling noises, no wind, no echoes from the street outside. I shook it off and began moving in. For the first week, everything seemed normal. I unpacked, dusted, explored. The house was larger than I thought, full of hidden alcoves and nooks. Old furniture remained in most rooms, covered in sheets. Curtains blocked the sunlight, giving the place a twilight feel even in the afternoon. Then I found the door. It was behind the kitchen pantry. A thin, wooden door, painted over so many times the color didn't match the walls. No knob, no keyhole, just a smooth surface that seemed unnatural. I had never noticed it during my first walkthrough. The first time I touched it, I thought it was just a storage closet. I pressed my hand against the door, cold, almost freezing, and then a whisper. I jerked back. Nothing. I told myself it was the wind. Drafts from old buildings can do strange things. The next night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that door, about what could be behind it. The house was silent except for the faint tick of the grandfather clock in the hallway, and yet the door seemed to pulse, subtle, almost imperceptible. I went to the kitchen, pressed my ear against the door. A voice whispering my name. I stumbled back, heart racing. Come in. It wasn't human, not exactly. I told myself to stop imagining things, to forget it. I tried to sleep. I couldn't. The third night, the whispering became clearer, more insistent. Open the door, come inside. I couldn't. I avoided the pantry, avoided the door. But every night I heard it, calling, laughing, crying, sometimes screaming, sometimes silent but always there, always watching. And then the footsteps began. Slow, heavy, walking behind me in the halls, always when I was alone. Sometimes I would spin around nothing. Empty hallways, the floorboards didn't creak, the air didn't move, and yet the footsteps were real. I stopped leaving my room after dark. Then came the objects. Small things moved on shelves, tables, countertops, pens, cups, knives. I would put them down. The next moment, somewhere else. Not far, just closer, closer to the door. The house was drawing me to it. The whispering changed. It wasn't just the door anymore. The walls joined in. The ceiling, the floors, the house itself. Come in. I tried reasoning. It's an old house. Sounds bounce. Maybe the wind, maybe the plumbing, maybe I'm just stressed. But the scratches began. Faint under my feet, beneath the floorboards. Moving, crawling, slithering, I stepped lightly. The scratching followed, circling me, always near the pantry door. And then one night, I heard the crying. Soft at first, childlike, fragile, painful, heart-wrenching, coming from behind the door. Help me! I screamed. I tried to move. My body froze. I was rooted to the spot. And then the doorknob turned, slowly, without my touching it. I couldn't run. The door creaked open a fraction. Blackness inside. Not darkness, blackness, as if the room absorbed light itself. Come in, it whispered. I fell backward. My mind screamed to run. My body wanted to obey, but some force held me there. The next morning I found footprints. Not mine. Smaller, bare, pressed into the dust, leading from the pantry door into the floorboards. I couldn't stop thinking about that room. I didn't want to. I tried to block it from my mind. But every night the door whispered. Every night the floor groaned. Every night the air in the house grew heavy, as if the house itself was breathing. I stopped leaving my room entirely. Then came the scratching, louder now, fingernails on wood, slowly, methodically circling the pantry door. I cried. I begged, I pleaded, I whispered. Please leave me alone. Come in. The answer came. Not in words, in the floorboards, in the walls, in the ceiling. The house shifted. The air thickened. My bedroom door wouldn't open, my windows useless. The house had me. I realized then that the door wasn't just a door. It was a gateway. And it was waiting. For me. I couldn't escape the door. It wasn't just a door anymore. It was alive, it breathed, it waited, and it watched me. The night it fully opened, I was powerless. I had tried everything. I had barricaded it, locked it, ignored it. But the house had other plans. The pantry door creaked, slowly, impossibly. A blackness beyond it pressed against my eyes as if the room itself was stretching out to swallow me whole. Come in, it whispered, low and deliberate. I couldn't move. My body refused. My mind screamed, but even that was muffled by the oppressive silence that had fallen over the rest of the house. Only that voice existed now. Only that blackness. Then I heard it. From inside the room, a soft voice, childish, trembling. Please help me. I wanted to run. I wanted to call the police. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. My limbs were frozen. My eyes were locked on the darkness behind the door, and then the blackness moved, slowly, like liquid, swelling, crawling toward me, reaching out through the frame. The house shifted. The walls bent inward. The floor trembled. My bedroom seemed impossibly far, impossibly close. The door behind me vanished. Every exit disappeared. There was only the room, the blackness, and me. I fell to the floor. My palms scraped the wooden boards. They were wet, sticky, warm. I looked down, a handprint, not mine, pale, pressed into the floor like the flesh had merged with the wood. The whispering escalated. No longer a voice, but many, thousands, echoing, overlapping, screaming, laughing, crying, all speaking my name, all telling me to step inside. You belong here. I tried to resist. I crawled backward, but the air pressed against me, heavy, thick. Every breath burned. The blackness from the room extended tendrils, fingers, shadows, shapes that twisted impossibly, clawing toward me. And then I saw them. Figures emerging from the cracks along the walls, pale, emaciated, eyes hollow, limbs bending in unnatural angles. They weren't human anymore. Some were human but warped, twisted reflections of previous tenants. Their mouths opened in silent screams. Their hands reached toward the door, beckoning, warning. Join us, they whispered. I screamed in my head. My mouth wouldn't move. My body was no longer mine. It belonged to the house now. The room pulsed. The blackness reached out. I felt my consciousness being pulled, stretched, and twisted. Memories I had never shared were displayed before me. Secrets, fears, shame. All of it laid bare, feeding the house, feeding the room, feeding the whispering shadows. I realized the horrifying truth. The room didn't just trap you, it consumed you. Every thought, every fear, every ounce of will. And then it merged you with itself. You became part of it. You were never leaving. I screamed in thought, but it was useless. I was already becoming part of the walls, part of the floorboards, part of the darkness. The child's voice grew louder, more insistent, pleading. Come help me. I was drawn forward, slowly. Against my will, my feet moved. My hands pressed against the doorframe, and then I stepped inside. The blackness swallowed me whole. I felt myself stretch, my body twisted, limbs bending in ways I didn't know were possible. Pain, pleasure, fear, ecstasy, all mixed together. I was screaming, I was laughing, I was crying. And then silence. I opened my eyes, not quite. Everything was gray, dust, shadows, faces pressed into the walls, floors, ceilings, faces of the lost, screaming silently, watching, waiting. And I saw myself, pale, emaciated, twisted, pressed into the wall like the others. I tried to move, I couldn't. "Welcome," the room whispered. And then I understood. The room had always existed, always hungry, always waiting. Every tenant, every curious soul, every new life absorbed, consumed, merged. And now I was part of it, part of the house, part of the whispers, part of the blackness that pulled the next visitor in. I realized what I had to do. I waited, silent, patient, watching the front door, the hallways, the street outside, waiting for the next person to enter. The next soul desperate for a home, curious, lonely, vulnerable. The room would call them, whisper to them, draw them in, and I would guide them. Because if I didn't, the room would consume me entirely, and then I would disappear. I am no longer human. I am the room. I am the walls. I am the whispers. And I am waiting. Waiting for the next person to enter. Waiting for the next mind to be broken. Waiting for the next soul to feed the hunger of the guest room behind the door. And it is eternal. I am eternal. We are eternal.